in the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, where rivers gave life to the first cities. A world of gods, monsters, and kings was born. This was Babylon, a land where myths shaped reality and destiny. Its people believed that every storm, every illness, every war had divine meaning. But who were these gods they worshipped with such devotion? And what terrifying demons haunted their darkest dreams? Beneath the towering ziggurats, priests whispered prayers to unseen powers. Temples burned with incense, while sacrifices stained the altar red. Every ruler claimed the gods had chosen them for greatness. Yet even kings feared the wrath of beings far beyond human control. The Babylonians saw themselves as players in a cosmic drama, one where gods could love or destroy with a single thought. Among these deities, one rose above all others: Marduk. He was not always supreme, but ambition lifted him to the throne of heaven. In the Enuma Elish, he slayed the chaos dragon Tiamat with mighty force. From her body, he crafted the heavens and the earth below. Then he became king of the gods, master of order over destruction. Marduk's rise marked the rise of Babylon itself. A city once among many, now stood at the center of the world. His temple, the Esagila, dominated the skyline like a beacon of power. The famous Tower of Babel may have been inspired by his sacred ziggurat. People believed Marduk watched over them, shaping their fate from above. But Marduk was not alone in the divine court. Ishtar, goddess of love and war, ruled the passions of men and women. She could inspire great romance or bring ruin through jealousy and fury. Her beauty was legendary, yet so was her temper when insulted. She once sent the heavenly bull down to punish the proud Gilgamesh. Shamash, god of the sun, saw all from his golden chariot in the sky. He was the guardian of justice, protector of the weak and oppressed. Kings swore by his light, claiming their rule came from his will. His rays pierced through lies, revealing truth hidden in shadows. To the Babylonians, justice was divine, and Shamash made it real. Ea, known also as Enki, lived beneath the earth in the Abzu waters. He was the god of wisdom, magic, and deep knowledge of the world. Unlike other gods, he often helped humanity escape divine punishment. He warned Utnapishtim of the Great Flood, saving him and his family. Even in darkness, Ea brought light to those who sought his guidance. There were many others: Anu, Enlil, Sin, Ninurta, and more. Each had their own temples, stories, and followers across the land. Some gods protected cities, others controlled storms or fertility. All played roles in a vast celestial hierarchy that governed existence. The Babylonians believed their lives were bound to these divine forces. But not all spirits were benevolent. Demons lurked in the dark corners of the world, waiting to strike. They brought sickness, madness, and death without warning or mercy. Priests and exorcists worked tirelessly to keep them at bay. Amulets, charms, and spells filled homes to guard against their touch. Lamashtu was one of the most feared of these evil spirits. She preyed on pregnant women and newborn children with cruel intent. It was said she would steal babies from their cribs in the night. To protect against her, families wore images of Pazuzu, her enemy. This demon-like wind god could drive Lamashtu away with fierce winds. Pazuzu himself was a terrifying figure, part man, part beast, all power. With lion claws, eagle wings, and a snarling face, he struck fear. Yet despite his appearance, he was called upon for protection, not harm. His image was carved into doorways, placed near beds, worn as pendants. He was proof that even demons could serve a purpose in Babylonian belief. Other demons stalked the land with silent menace. Asaku was linked to disease, especially plagues and wasting illnesses. Galu demons dragged souls into the underworld, never to return. If someone fell ill without reason, they were likely possessed by spirits. Priests performed long rituals to cast them out using fire and incantations. Illness was rarely seen as natural in Babylonian thought. It was punishment, possession, or the result of divine anger. Curses could be passed down through generations like inherited wounds. Even the powerful could fall victim to unseen supernatural forces. Magic and religion were tools used to fight back against these threats. Nowhere do we see this spiritual struggle more clearly than in the Epic of Gilgamesh. This tale, carved into clay tablets, tells of a king's journey. It is the oldest known story in human history, older than the Bible. Its themes of friendship, loss, and the search for immortality still move us today. Gilgamesh was not just a legend, he was a reflection of humanity itself. He ruled the city of Uruk as two-thirds god, one-third man, towering in strength, unmatched in battle, yet full of arrogance. The gods saw his pride and created Enkidu to challenge him. Enkidu was wild, raised among beasts, until civilization changed him. Together, they would become inseparable friends and unstoppable warriors. Their adventures took them to forbidden lands and deadly foes. They faced Humbaba, the monstrous guardian of the cedar forest. They killed the heavenly bull sent by an enraged Ishtar herself. But the gods decided one must die for their defiance of divine law. Enkidu suffered terribly before death finally took him away. Gilgamesh mourned like no king had mourned before. He refused to accept that death could claim even the strongest soul. So he set out on a desperate quest to find eternal life. He traveled to the edge of the world, seeking the only immortal man. Utnapishtim, survivor of the Great Flood, held the secret he sought. Utnapishtim told him of the deluge that nearly ended the world. Only he and his family survived by building a great boat of wood. This tale bore eerie resemblance to later biblical and Mesopotamian flood myths. It showed how deeply rooted these ideas were in ancient culture, but even Utnapishtim could not grant Gilgamesh the gift of immortality. Time and again, Gilgamesh failed the tests meant to prove his worth. He could not stay awake for 7 days, nor keep something precious forever. Finally, he was offered a plant said to restore youth to the old. He found it, rejoiced, but lost it to a serpent in the night. The snake shed its skin and left Gilgamesh with nothing but despair. Broken and defeated, he returned home to Uruk, empty-handed. He looked upon its walls and realized something profound. Though he would die like all men, his legacy would live on. Through deeds, through stories, through the city he built with his own hands. That was the true lesson of his journey. Mortality gives meaning to life. The Epic of Gilgamesh is not just a myth, it is a mirror. It shows us the fears, hopes, and dreams of an ancient people. They wondered about death, searched for purpose, and loved fiercely. These same questions still haunt us today, thousands of years later. Perhaps that is why this epic has endured longer than the bricks of Babylon. Beyond the gods and heroes, there was another layer to Babylonian belief. Dreams were messages from the divine, warnings or promises from the beyond. Astrology began here, with scholars mapping the stars for prophecy. They believed the heavens told the fate of kings and empires alike. Reading omens became a science, a duty, and sometimes a tool of power. Priests studied the flight of birds, the movement of planets, the patterns of oil on water. Everything was a sign, if one knew how to read it correctly. A bad omen could delay a war or change the course of a kingdom. Kings trusted diviners as much as generals, fearing divine displeasure. Superstition and faith were woven tightly into daily life. Religion was not separate from politics in Babylonian society. The king was both ruler and high priest, chosen by the gods themselves. He led rituals, offered sacrifices, and ensured the gods remained pleased. If a disaster struck, it was often seen as punishment for royal failure. Thus, rulers walked a fine line between power and piety. Temples were centers of worship, yes, but also of economy and learning. They housed scribes, healers, astronomers, and administrators. They stored grain, managed land, and recorded laws and contracts. Religion was not just belief, it was the foundation of civilization. Without the gods, Babylon would not have risen to greatness. Yet for all their devotion, the Babylonians did not believe in eternal bliss. The afterlife was a shadowy place, a land of dust and silence below the earth. There, all souls went, rich and poor, good and evil, without reward or punishment. This bleak view of death made life all the more precious to them. It may explain why Gilgamesh searched so desperately for immortality. But even in death, the living could honor the dead. Families left offerings at tombs, hoping to comfort their departed ancestors. Neglecting the dead was considered a grave sin, risking their anger. Ghosts could return to haunt the living if not properly remembered. So the Babylonians kept the names of their ancestors alive through ritual. This complex web of beliefs formed the spiritual backbone of Babylon. It shaped how people saw themselves, their rulers, and the universe. It influenced their laws, their wars, their art, and their literature. From simple farmers to mighty kings, all lived under the gaze of the gods. None were truly free from the pull of divine will. And yet, despite the power of the gods, humans still dared to question. Why did the innocent suffer? Why does death take the young and strong? These are the same questions we ask today, echoing across time. Babylon may be gone, but its myths still speak to us in whispers. They remind us that we are not the first to seek answers in the dark. So the next time you hear the name Babylon, think beyond ruins and sand. Think of the gods who ruled from the heavens, the demons who prowled the night. Think of Gilgamesh walking the edge of the world, searching for eternity. For in these ancient stories lie the echoes of our own humanity. And perhaps somewhere in those myths, we can still find ourselves.